There is a quiet place within you that has never worried about a single thing. It has never lost sleep over a bill, never trembled at the thought of rejection, never replayed yesterday's mistakes or rehearsed tomorrow's catastrophes. It is the still, silent awareness behind your thoughts. It is the witness to your fears. It is the presence that was there before you had a name, before you had a story, before you learned to call yourself inadequate or successful, broken or whole. And that presence, that silent awareness, does not worry because it knows. You have been taught to believe that worry is responsible, that anxiety is necessary, that fear is a sign of intelligence. But what if I told you that worry is simply a habit of the ego, a conditioned response from a mind that has forgotten its source? What if I told you that the very energy you spend worrying is the same energy that could be used to create miracles? Worry is a prayer for what you do not want. Think about that. Every time you worry, you are placing your attention on an outcome you fear. You are energizing it. You are watering it. And because everything in this universe responds to attention, you are collaborating with the very reality you hope to avoid. The ego calls this preparation. The soul calls it forgetfulness. The ego says, if I don't worry, something bad will happen. The soul whispers, if you keep worrying, you will miss the miracle. You are not here to control the world. You are here to align with it. And alignment does not come through tension. It comes through trust. Imagine the ocean for a moment. On the surface, there are waves, some gentle, some violent. The waves crash and roar and foam, and if you identified yourself as a wave, you would live in constant fear of breaking apart. You would compare your height to other waves. You would dread the shore, but you are not the wave, you are the ocean. The vast, depthless, infinite ocean beneath the movement. Worry is what happens when you believe you are only the wave. Giving it to God is remembering you are the ocean. You say, but how do I stop worrying? My problems are real. Yes, your circumstances may be real in the physical sense. Bills must be paid. Illness must be faced. Relationships may end. But the suffering you attach to these events is optional. It is born from resistance. It is born from the belief that life should obey your script. What if instead of asking, why is this happening to me, you ask, what is this trying to teach me? What if you trusted that there is an intelligence operating in your life that sees further than you do, that knows what your limited perspective cannot yet grasp? The ego is terrified of surrender because it equates surrender with defeat. But surrender is not giving up, it is giving over. It is placing your burdens into the hands of something greater than your limited intellect. It is saying, I do not need to solve this alone. You were never meant to. There is a field of infinite intelligence that breathes through you. The same force that beats your heart without your command, that digests your food without your supervision, that orchestrates galaxies without your input. And yet, you believe that your small, anxious thoughts are necessary to keep your life from collapsing. Look at the absurdity of that. When you were in your mother's womb, you did not worry about oxygen. You did not strategize how to grow fingers. You trusted life because you were life. That same intelligence has not left you. It has simply been drowned out by the noise of fear. The mind loves to predict disaster. It scans for threats. It builds scenarios. It rehearses pain. And in doing so, it keeps you from inhabiting the only moment that ever exists, the now. Worry lives in the future. Regret lives in the past. God lives in the present. To give it to God is to return to now. Right now, in this breath, are you safe? In this exact moment, before the next thought arises, is there anything lacking? Notice how the body softens when you come here. Notice how the heart slows when you stop chasing imagined futures. The ego feeds on what if. The soul rests in what is. You say, what if I fail? And I ask you, what if you don't? You say, what if I lose everything? And I ask you, what if losing everything reveals what can never be taken? You say, what if it doesn't work out? And I ask you, what if it works out in ways you cannot yet imagine? The ego demands certainty before action. The soul offers faith before evidence. Faith is not blind belief, it is inner knowing. It is the quiet conviction that life is not random, that there is an order beneath the chaos, that there is a wisdom guiding you even when you cannot see the map. Have you ever noticed how often the things you once worried about never came to pass? and the challenges that did arise were not the ones you rehearsed, worry is almost always wrong. It is a poor prophet and a cruel master, and yet you return to it as though it were a loyal friend. What if instead you befriended trust? Trust does not mean you become passive. It means you act from inspiration rather than desperation. It means you take steps guided by intuition rather than driven by fear. It means you do what you can and release what you cannot. There is a powerful affirmation that shifts everything. I am willing to release this to a higher power. Say it slowly. Feel it. I am willing to release this to a higher power. Notice the word willing. You do not have to feel perfectly calm. You do not have to eliminate every trace of fear. You only need willingness. Willingness opens the door. Willingness invites grace. When you give your worries to God, you are not abandoning responsibility. You are acknowledging partnership. You are saying, I will show up. I will do my part. And I trust that the rest is being handled by an intelligence far greater than my limited thinking. Think of the sky. Storms pass through it. Thunder shakes it. Clouds darken it. But the sky itself is never harmed. Your awareness is the sky. Your worries are the weather. Why identify with the storm when you are the vastness in which it appears? The ego thrives on control. It wants guarantees. It wants to manipulate outcomes. It wants applause and security and validation. And when it cannot secure these, it worries, it panics, it tightens. But the more you tighten, the more life slips through your fingers. Have you ever tried to hold water in a clenched fist? It escapes. But when you open your hand, it rests there naturally. Surrender is an open hand. There is a deeper question beneath every worry. It is this: do I trust life, not intellectually, not philosophically, but truly, in your bones, do you trust that you are supported? You are not a mistake. You are not an accident drifting through an indifferent universe. You are an expression of the same creative intelligence that spins planets and blooms flowers. That intelligence did not bring you here to abandon you, but you must meet it halfway. When fear arises, and it will, do not fight it. Do not judge yourself for feeling it. Simply notice it. Say, here is worry again. And then gently place it into the hands of the divine. Visualize it dissolving. Imagine it being carried by a current far stronger than your anxious thoughts. This is a practice, not a one-time event. The ego will return. It always does. But each time you choose trust over tension, you weaken its grip. There is freedom in realizing that you do not have to orchestrate every detail of your existence, that you can breathe and allow and receive. Consider the orange. When you squeeze an orange, what comes out? Orange juice. Not apple juice, not grape juice, only what was inside. When life squeezes you, and it will, what comes out? If worry comes out, it is because worry was within. If faith comes out, it is because faith was cultivated. You cannot control the squeezing, but you can choose what you store inside. Fill yourself with trust, with affirmations, with reminders of your connection to something eternal. And when pressure comes, what will flow is calm strength. You say, but I've always been a worrier. That is a story, a label, and you are not your labels. You are not your past patterns. You are the awareness capable of observing them. And what you can observe, you can change. Begin with small acts of surrender. When you catch yourself replaying a conversation, say, I release this. When you find yourself predicting disaster, say, I choose trust. When your body tightens, breathe and whisper, I am supported. Worry contracts. Trust expands. Notice which one feels like your true nature. There is a profound humility in giving it to God. It is the recognition that your vision is partial, that there are threads being woven that you cannot yet see. Sometimes what appears as loss is redirection. Sometimes what appears as delay is preparation. If you had received everything you once demanded, would you be who you are now? Or were there closed doors that protected you? Were there detours that shaped you? The ego sees obstacles. The soul sees curriculum. Life is not happening to you. It is happening for you. And when you truly absorb this, worry begins to dissolve. This does not mean you become indifferent. It means you become anchored. You care deeply, but you are not consumed. You act decisively, but you are not frantic. You love fully, but you do not cling. To give it to God is to remember that you are not alone in the unfolding of your story, that there is a co-creator within you, guiding you through intuition, through synchronicity, through subtle nudges. Have you ever had a moment when everything aligned unexpectedly, when the right person appeared at the right time, when a solution emerged just as you were about to give up? That was not coincidence. That was alignment, and alignment cannot coexist with chronic worry. You cannot receive guidance when your mind is screaming. Silence is the doorway. Stillness is the invitation. In quiet moments, ask inwardly, what would love do here? And then listen, not to the loud voice of fear, but to the gentle whisper beneath it. Love does not worry. Love trusts. At the end of your life, you will not regret the moment you trusted. You will regret the days you spent anxious over things that never happened. You will see how much energy was lost to imaginary futures. Why wait until then? Right now, you can choose differently. Right now, you can lay your burdens down. You can say, I am done trying to control the uncontrollable. I am done rehearsing pain. I am done doubting the intelligence that created me. Feel the relief in that declaration. You were not designed to carry the weight of the universe. You were designed to participate in its wonder. So give it to God. Give him your fears about money. Give him your concerns about health. Give him your worries about your children, your career, your reputation. Place them all into that infinite field of love and say, I trust you more than I trust my fear. And then watch what happens. You may not see immediate fireworks, but you will feel a shift, a lightness, a spaciousness. And from that space, inspired action will arise naturally. This is the paradox. When you stop obsessing, clarity comes. When you release control, solutions appear. When you surrender the outcome, you often receive something better than what you imagined. Because the ego dreams small, the soul dreams vast. There's an ancient wisdom that says, be still and know. Stillness is not laziness, it is alignment. It is the recognition that the same force that sustains the cosmos sustains you. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine placing every worry into a flowing river. Watch them drift away. Some may try to cling to the shore. Gently nudge them back into the current. You do not need to retrieve them. The river knows where to carry them. You are free to live. Free to laugh without scanning for disaster. Free to love without anticipating loss. Free to create without fearing failure. This freedom has always been available. It was only hidden behind the illusion that you had to manage everything alone. You don't. You never did. And as you walk forward from this moment, let your mantra be simple and powerful. I trust. I release. I am supported. Let those words become your new habit. Let them replace the old mental scripts. Each time worry arises, see it as a reminder to return to faith. Because giving it to God is not weakness. It is strength rooted in humility. It is courage born from connection. It is the ultimate act of remembering who you truly are, not a fragile wave fighting the shore, but the infinite ocean itself. And the ocean does not worry about the tide. It moves in rhythm with a force far greater than itself, yet inseparable from it. You are that rhythm. You are that force. You are that infinite, divine presence expressing itself as a human being. So breathe, release, trust, and live. And as you begin to live from this place of surrender, something extraordinary begins to unfold within you. It is subtle at first, almost imperceptible, like the faint light before dawn. You notice that your breath deepens, your shoulders soften, the constant hum of mental noise grows quieter, and in that quiet, you discover something that has always been there, a presence untouched by circumstance. This presence does not tremble when the phone rings with unexpected news. It does not shrink when the world appears uncertain. It does not bargain or plead or grasp. It simply is. And in its beingness, there is profound power. You have been conditioned to believe that power comes from control, from strategizing every possible outcome, from anticipating every potential threat. But real power is alignment. Real power is knowing that you are an extension of a creative force that cannot be diminished by temporary conditions. Look at nature. The oak tree does not worry about the winter. It does not anxiously calculate how many leaves it might lose. It stands rooted, trusting the cycles. It understands something you have forgotten, that endings are not failures. They are transitions. Worry is what happens when you resist the seasons of your life. There are winters in every human journey. Times when relationships fall away, when finances tighten, when health falters, when dreams seem distant. The ego interprets these as evidence of danger, of loss, of injustice, but the soul sees them as sacred pruning. What if this moment in your life is not a punishment, but preparation? What if the very thing you are asking to be removed is the very thing shaping your strength? When you give it to God, you are not denying your pain. You are transforming your relationship to it. You are saying, I trust that even this has purpose. And in that trust, suffering begins to loosen its grip. There is a remarkable shift that occurs when you stop arguing with reality. When you stop insisting that life should look different than it does. Acceptance does not mean approval. It means clarity. It means seeing what is without layering it with fear. And from clarity, inspired action becomes possible. The ego reacts. The soul responds. The ego panics. The soul pauses. The ego demands guarantees. The soul moves with guidance. You have within you an inner compass that is always pointing toward peace. But worry scrambles the signal. It distorts perception. It convinces you that urgency is wisdom. Have you ever made a decision from fear and later realized it was unnecessary? Have you ever spent days worrying about a conversation that lasted only minutes? This is how the ego drains your life force, by keeping you preoccupied with shadows. But shadows cannot exist without light, and you are the light. When you remember this, the shadows lose their authority. There is a profound statement that can recalibrate your entire nervous system. Nothing is missing. Say it slowly. Nothing is missing. In this moment, you have air in your lungs, a beating heart, awareness, consciousness. The essentials of existence are present. The rest is narrative. The rest is interpretation. The ego thrives on the illusion of lack. It whispers, you don't have enough. You aren't enough. There isn't enough. And from that illusion, worry is born. But abundance is not a quantity. It is a frequency. It is the recognition that you are connected to an inexhaustible source. When you feel disconnected from that source, you attempt to compensate through control, through planning, through mental rehearsal. But when you feel connected, you relax into participation. Life becomes less of a battlefield and more of a dance. And in a dance, you do not control every movement. You respond to rhythm. You trust the music. You allow yourself to be guided. The music of your life is playing right now. Can you hear it beneath the noise of fear? It sounds like intuition, like subtle knowing, like a quiet nudge that says, go this way, or wait, or let go. But worry drowns it out with louder questions. What if this fails? What if they reject me? What if I'm wrong? You are allowed to be wrong. You are allowed to stumble. You are allowed to learn. Perfection is not the requirement for divine support. Imagine a child learning to walk. The child falls repeatedly. Does the loving parent withdraw support, or does the parent watch with patience, knowing that falling is part of mastery? You are that child, and the universe is infinitely patient. But the ego is impatient. It wants immediate certainty. It wants assurance that every step will lead to applause. And when applause is not guaranteed, it chooses worry as a substitute for courage. Yet courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to trust something greater than fear. You are not here to eliminate uncertainty. You are here to expand within it. Consider how much of your life has unfolded without your micromanagement. Your heart beats while you sleep. Your cells regenerate. The earth rotates. The sun rises. You do not supervise these miracles. Why, then, do you believe your anxious thoughts are required to hold your world together? There is a humility in admitting, I don't know how this will unfold. And there is liberation in adding, but I trust that it will. Trust does not guarantee comfort. It guarantees growth. When you surrender your worries, you create space for wisdom to enter. You allow solutions to surface organically. You open yourself to synchronicities that fear would have overlooked. And here is the deeper truth. Worry is often an attempt to avoid feeling. It is easier to think about the future than to feel the present. It is easier to strategize than to sit with vulnerability. But healing begins when you stop running from your emotions and start embracing them with compassion. If you are afraid, acknowledge it. If you are hurt, honor it. If you are uncertain, admit it. Then gently say, I place this in the hands of something greater than me. You are not meant to carry emotional weight alone. There is an unseen support system woven into the fabric of existence. Call it God, call it Source, call it infinite intelligence. The name is irrelevant. The presence is undeniable. You have felt it in moments of awe, in moments of love so profound that time seemed to dissolve, in moments of silence so deep that your identity felt spacious and undefined. That is your true nature. And your true nature is not anxious. The more you align with that nature, the more you realize that worry is a learned behavior, not an inherent trait. It was modeled, reinforced, repeated, but it can be unlearned. Every time you choose surrender over spiraling, you are rewiring your consciousness. You are teaching your nervous system a new pattern, safety and trust. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, life begins to feel different. Challenges still arise, but they do not consume you. Uncertainty still exists, but it does not paralyze you. You move through circumstances with a grounded calm that surprises even you. This is not indifference, it is inner freedom. Inner freedom is the ability to experience life fully without being enslaved by fear of outcomes. And this freedom is available now, not when the bills are paid, not when the diagnosis changes, not when the relationship improves. Now, because freedom is not external, it is a decision. A decision to say, I refuse to let my mind be a factory of worst-case scenarios. A decision to say, I trust the intelligence that brought me here. A decision to say, even if I cannot see the path, I believe it is unfolding. The ego sees life as a series of threats. The soul sees life as a series of invitations. An invitation to grow, to forgive, to release, to expand. You may not control the invitations, but you control your response. And when your response is trust, life opens in ways that fear could never orchestrate. Imagine waking each morning not with a checklist of worries, but with a quiet affirmation, today I walk with faith. Imagine facing difficulties not with dread, but with curiosity. What is this here to teach me? Imagine closing your eyes at night without rehearsing tomorrow's fears, but instead whispering, thank you for guiding me. This is not fantasy, it is practice. And like any practice, it strengthens with repetition. The mind may still attempt to wander into worry. That is its habit, but you are not your mind. You are the awareness observing it, and awareness has choice. When a fearful thought arises, you can engage it or you can release it. You can follow it down a spiral or you can hand it over to something greater. In that moment of choice, your destiny shifts. You are far more powerful than you realize. Not because you can control external events, but because you can choose your internal state. And your internal state is the lens through which you experience everything. If the lens is fear, the world appears hostile. If the lens is trust, the world appears supportive. The events may be identical, the interpretation changes everything, so give it to God not as a last resort, but as a first response. Before the spiral, before the sleepless night, before the endless mental debate, pause and say, I release this, and feel the shift. You may notice resistance. The ego may protest, but if you don't worry, you'll be unprepared. Smile at that voice. Thank it for its attempt to protect you. And then gently choose again. Choose peace. Choose surrender. Choose faith. Because at the deepest level of your being, you already know that you are held, that you are guided, that you are loved beyond measure. You do not have to earn this support. You do not have to prove yourself worthy of it. It is your birthright as a divine expression of life. So lay down the burden. Lay down the belief that everything depends on your anxious vigilance. Lay down the story that says you are alone in this, and step into the quiet, luminous truth that has been waiting for you all along. You are not here to worry your way through existence. You are here to trust your way into awakening. And when you do, when you truly do, the world does not become free of challenges, but you become free within it. And that changes everything. Close your eyes for a moment and feel the quiet pulse of your own being. Beneath the noise of the world, beneath the endless commentary of the mind, there is something within you that has never been confused, never been wounded, never been diminished. That presence is who you truly are. And when I say believe in yourself, I am not speaking about believing in the personality you have constructed, or the resume you have assembled, or the opinions others have formed about you. I am speaking about believing in that silent, eternal essence that existed before anyone told you who you should be. You are not an accident of biology drifting through a meaningless universe. You are a divine expression of an intelligent, loving field of energy that has no beginning and no end. The same force that spins the planets in their orbit and blossoms the rose in perfect symmetry beats within your chest. And yet, how often have you doubted yourself? How often have you listened to the voice of fear that whispers, "You are not enough, you are not ready, you are not worthy"? That voice is not you. It is the echo of conditioning. It is the accumulation of old beliefs, inherited fears, and borrowed limitations. It is the ego's attempt to define you by what you do, what you have, and how you compare. But consider this, when you squeeze an orange, what comes out? Orange juice. Not because the world made it so, but because that is what was inside all along. When life squeezes you, what comes out? Is it fear? Is it resentment? Or is it compassion, strength, and love? Whatever emerges was already within you. Believing in yourself means understanding that you are the source of what pours out of you. It means recognizing that you are not here to compete for worthiness, but to express the infinite worth that is already yours. You are not here to prove your value. You are here to remember it. The ego would have you believe that your value fluctuates. It rises when you succeed and falls when you fail. It grows when you are praised and shrinks when you are criticized. But your true self does not fluctuate. It does not depend on applause. It does not crumble under rejection. It is like the sky, vast, open, untouched by the storms that pass through it. Thoughts are like clouds. Emotions are like weather patterns. Circumstances are like shifting winds. But the sky remains. And you are that sky. When you forget this, you begin to seek validation from outside yourself. You look to relationships, achievements, possessions, and status to confirm that you matter. Yet no amount of external approval can fill an internal void created by forgetting who you are. The more you chase, the more elusive it becomes. The more you compare, the more you suffer. And so the invitation is simple, though not always easy. Come back to yourself. Return to the source. Believing in yourself is an act of spiritual remembrance. It is saying, I trust the wisdom that created me. I trust the intelligence that breathes me. I trust that I am here on purpose. Even when you cannot see the full picture, even when the path ahead seems uncertain, there is a deeper knowing within you that has never been lost. Have you ever noticed that the oak tree does not question its right to grow? The river does not apologize for flowing. The sun does not ask permission to shine. They express their nature without hesitation. And you, too, are here to express your nature. But somewhere along the way, you were taught to doubt it. You were told to be realistic, to play it safe, to fit in, and so you began to shrink. You began to edit yourself to meet the expectations of others. Yet the soul does not shrink. The soul expands. The soul yearns to create, to love, to explore, to serve. When you ignore that yearning, you feel restless. When you suppress that calling, you feel disconnected. But when you honor it, when you say yes to that quiet inner nudge, something extraordinary happens. Energy begins to move. Synchronicities appear. Doors open. Not because the universe suddenly decided to favor you, but because you aligned with what was already waiting for you. Believing in yourself is aligning with the highest vision of who you are. It is choosing thoughts that affirm your divinity rather than deny it. It is catching yourself in moments of self-criticism and gently asking, is this the voice of love or the voice of fear? Love will always expand you. Fear will always contract you. You are not your mistakes. You are not your past. You are not the labels that have been placed upon you. The past exists only as a memory in your present mind. And in this present moment, you have the power to reinterpret it, to release it, to transcend it. If you believe that your past defines you, you will live as a prisoner of what has already happened. But if you understand that you are a creative, spiritual being capable of new choices, then your past becomes a teacher, not a jailer. Imagine standing at the edge of the ocean. The waves rise and fall, each one unique, each one temporary. If a wave were to identify solely with its form, it might fear crashing onto the shore. It might compare itself to other waves, wondering if it is taller or more impressive. But if the wave remembers that it is not just a wave but the ocean itself, there is no fear. There is only movement, expression, flow. You are not just the wave of your current circumstances, you are the ocean of consciousness from which all circumstances arise. When you believe in yourself at this level, you stop asking, "What if I fail?" and begin asking, "What if I don't try?" You stop measuring your life by external milestones and begin measuring it by internal alignment. You ask, "Am I living in harmony with my soul?" That question will guide you more faithfully than any external advice ever could. There will be moments when doubt resurfaces. That is part of the human experience. But doubt does not have to become your identity. You can witness it. You can breathe through it. You can remind yourself, "I am not this passing thought. I am the awareness behind it." And from that awareness, you can choose again. Believing in yourself also means forgiving yourself. So many people carry silent guilt, replaying old decisions, wishing they had known then what they know now. But you could not have acted from a level of awareness you had not yet reached. Every experience, even the painful ones, has contributed to your growth. When you release self-judgment, you free up energy that was trapped in the past. That energy becomes available for creation, for joy, for love. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be authentic. Perfection is an ego-driven illusion, a moving target that keeps you striving and never arriving. Authenticity is alignment with your true nature. It is speaking your truth with kindness. It is following your inner guidance, even when it diverges from the crowd. It is honoring your intuition as sacred. Intuition is the language of the soul. It does not shout, it whispers. And when you believe in yourself, you learn to trust that whisper. You may not always understand it logically. It may not make sense to others. But when you follow it, there is a feeling of rightness, a sense of expansion. That feeling is your compass. You are a co-creator with the universe. Your thoughts are not trivial. They are creative forces. What you consistently focus upon grows. If you focus on your inadequacies, you will find evidence to support them. If you focus on your strengths, your possibilities, your divine nature, you will begin to see opportunities aligned with that vision. This is not magical thinking. It is energetic alignment. The universe responds to the vibration you emit. Say to yourself, "I am worthy, I am capable, I am connected to infinite intelligence," not as empty affirmations, but as reminders of truth. Feel into them. Let them resonate. The more you repeat thoughts of empowerment, the more familiar they become. The more familiar they become, the more natural they feel. And eventually, they replace the old scripts of limitation. Believing in yourself does not mean denying challenges. It means facing them from a place of inner strength rather than inner deficiency. It means understanding that obstacles are not punishments, but invitations. Invitations to grow, to deepen your faith, to access parts of yourself you have not yet explored. There is a power within you that is greater than any external circumstance. It is the power of intention. When you set an intention aligned with love, with service, with growth, you activate that power. Intention is not force. It is not striving. It is a calm, clear decision about who you choose to be. When your intention is pure, your actions naturally align. And as you move through life, remember that believing in yourself is not a one-time declaration. It is a daily practice. It is choosing again and again to see yourself through the eyes of love rather than judgment. It is catching the moments when you begin to compare and gently returning to your own path. It is celebrating your progress rather than fixating on your perceived shortcomings. You are here for a reason. There is something that only you can bring to this world. It may not be grand in the eyes of society, may not make headlines, but it matters. A kind word spoken at the right time matters. A creative idea shared with courage matters. A life lived authentically matters. When you believe in yourself, you give others permission to do the same. Your confidence becomes contagious, not the arrogance of ego, but the quiet assurance of someone who knows their source. You become a living example of what is possible when a human being remembers their divinity. So stand tall, not in defiance, but in remembrance. Breathe deeply, not in anxiety, but in trust. The same intelligence that guides the stars guides you. The same love that sustains the universe sustains you. You are not separate from it. You are an expression of it. And in those moments when fear tries to reclaim its throne, place your hand on your heart and whisper, I am more than this fear. I am more than this doubt. I am a divine being having a human experience. Let that truth anchor you. Let it steady you. Believe in yourself, not because the world guarantees success, but because your soul deserves expression. Believe in yourself, not because you will never fall, but because you have the strength to rise. Believe in yourself, not because you are better than anyone else, but because you are a unique, irreplaceable expression of the infinite. You are already enough. You have always been enough. And the moment you truly embrace that, the world you experience begins to change. Not because the external shifts instantly, but because your perception does. You move from scarcity to abundance, from fear to love, from doubt to trust. This is your awakening. This is your remembering. This is your return to the truth that has been within you all along. Believe in yourself and watch as the life you were meant to live begins to unfold with grace, with purpose, and with a quiet, unshakable joy that no external circumstance can ever take away. And as you continue on this path of believing in yourself, there must be balance, not the rigid balance of a tightrope walker trembling above the ground, but the organic balance of nature itself. The tree does not strain to balance its branches. It grows toward the light while its roots deepen into the dark. This is the balance you are being called to embody, the harmony between your humanity and your divinity, between effort and surrender, between becoming and being. To believe in yourself does not mean to deny your humanness. It means to embrace it without allowing it to dominate you. You are both the sculptor and the clay. You are both the student and the teacher. There will be days when you feel expansive, aligned, unstoppable. And there will be days when you feel uncertain, tender, even broken. Both belong. Both are sacred. The ego will try to convince you that only the high moments define your worth. But the soul knows that growth happens in the valleys as much as on the mountaintops. Plot balance in your life is the understanding that challenge and grace coexist. When you encounter resistance, it is not evidence that you should retreat. It is evidence that something within you is strengthening. Muscles grow through resistance. Character grows through contrast. Faith deepens when it is tested. The night sky is not an obstacle to the stars. It is the canvas that makes them visible. So when the storyline of your life takes an unexpected turn, when plans dissolve and certainty fades, resist the temptation to interpret it as failure. Instead, ask yourself, what is this moment teaching me about who I truly am? Is it revealing patience, courage, compassion, resilience? The soul is less concerned with your comfort and more devoted to your expansion. Believing in yourself requires the courage to hold opposites at once. You can be confident and humble. You can be ambitious and peaceful. You can strive for excellence without attaching your identity to outcomes. The ego seeks extremes, all success or total failure, complete control or utter helplessness. But wisdom lives in the middle. Wisdom understands that you can act with passion while surrendering the result. You can give your best effort while knowing that your value is not at stake. Imagine again the ocean. The surface may be turbulent, waves crashing and winds howling. Yet deep beneath that surface, there is stillness, there is silence, there is immovable calm. You are learning to live from that depth while participating in the surface. You are learning to let the waves move without believing that you are the storm. And this balance extends to how you relate to others. Believing in yourself does not isolate you, it connects you more authentically. When you no longer seek validation, your relationships become expressions of love rather than negotiations for approval. You listen more deeply because you are not busy defending your identity. You speak more honestly because you are not afraid of losing acceptance. You love more freely because you are not asking others to complete you. There is a profound freedom in no longer trying to be everything for everyone. The ego thrives on people-pleasing because it fears rejection, but the soul understands that authenticity is more powerful than approval. Some will resonate with your truth, some will not. Both are perfectly aligned with their journey and yours. You are not here to be universally understood. You are here to be genuinely expressed. And yet, balance also means compassion for the ego. Do not wage war against it. The ego developed as protection. It learned to compare, to compete, to defend, because it believed survival depended on it. Thank it for its service, and then gently remind it that you are no longer living in survival mode. You are living in conscious creation. You are safe enough to soften. You are strong enough to release control. As you move forward, there will be moments when success arrives. Opportunities will unfold. Recognition may come. And here too, balance is essential. Success is not a throne to sit upon. It is a platform from which to serve. When you remember that your gifts flow through you, not from you alone, humility naturally follows. Gratitude anchors you. You realize that the same universal intelligence that beats your heart orchestrates every unfolding, and there will be moments of apparent loss. Doors will close. Relationships will shift. Dreams may evolve or dissolve. In those moments, balance invites you to grieve without collapsing, to feel without identifying. Loss is not proof that you are off course. Sometimes it is evidence that you are shedding what no longer aligns with who you are becoming. Every ending carries the seed of a beginning. Every breakdown contains the blueprint of a breakthrough. The caterpillar does not perceive the cocoon as transformation. It may feel like confinement, yet within that darkness, wings are forming. If you judge your life solely by present discomfort, you may miss the miracle unfolding beneath the surface. Believing in yourself with balance means trusting timing. The ego is impatient. It wants guarantees and immediate results. The soul understands rhythm. There are seasons for planting, seasons for nurturing, seasons for harvesting, and seasons for resting. If you attempt to harvest in the planting season, you will call it failure. If you honor the process, you will call it wisdom. Ask yourself gently, where am I being invited to trust more deeply? Where am I forcing when I could be flowing? Where am I shrinking when I could be expanding? These questions do not demand harsh answers. They invite awareness. And awareness is the beginning of transformation. You are not required to have every step mapped out. You are required only to take the next aligned step. Clarity comes from movement, not from overthinking. When you act from intention rather than fear, even missteps become meaningful. There are no wasted experiences when you are willing to learn. Balance also means tending to your inner world as faithfully as your outer ambitions. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. Silence is not laziness, it is restoration. Reflection is not indulgence, it is recalibration. When you meditate, when you walk in nature, when you sit quietly with your breath, you are not escaping life, you are remembering how to live it consciously. In this state of inner alignment, self-belief becomes less about proving and more about allowing. You allow your gifts to emerge. You allow inspiration to guide you. You allow love to soften your edges. You allow mistakes to refine you rather than define you. And perhaps most importantly, you allow yourself to evolve. The person you were 5 years ago is not the person you are today. And the person you are today is not the final version of you. Growth is not betrayal of your past, it is fulfillment of your potential. Release the need to cling to old identities simply because they are familiar. You are permitted to outgrow versions of yourself that once felt permanent. Feel the balance in that rooted yet rising, grounded yet expanding, human yet divine. When you wake each morning before the world begins to tell you who to be, take a quiet moment to remember, I am not here to chase worthiness. I am here to express it. I am not here to control every outcome. I am here to align with my highest intention. I am not here to compete for space. I am here to radiate presence. Believe in yourself, not as an act of defiance, but as an act of devotion. Devotion to the life force moving through you. Devotion to the quiet wisdom that guides you. Devotion to the understanding that you are both a unique individual and an inseparable part of the whole. And as your story continues to unfold, let it be balanced by trust and effort, surrender and action, courage and compassion. Let it be guided not by the frantic urgency of the ego, but by the steady rhythm of the soul. You are not behind. You are not lacking. You are not incomplete. You are unfolding. Trust the unfolding. Believe in the one who is unfolding. Believe in yourself. And now, as we arrive at this sacred closing of our reflection, I invite you to feel, not think, not analyze, not measure, but feel the quiet truth settling into your being. Believing in yourself is not a destination you arrive at once and for all. It is a living relationship with your own soul. It is the gentle returning again and again, to the awareness that you are more than your roles, more than your fears, more than the story you have been telling about who you are. There will always be voices in the world eager to define you. There will be metrics, expectations, timelines, and comparisons. There will be moments when the outer world appears louder than your inner knowing, but the invitation remains the same. Come back. Come back to the breath. Come back to the stillness. Come back to the quiet certainty that says, I am here on purpose. You are not here to imitate someone else's path. You are not here to fulfill someone else's unfinished dreams. You are not here to shrink so others can feel comfortable. You are here to expand into the fullness of what you already are. Feel the power of that. When you truly believe in yourself, you stop negotiating with your worth. You stop saying, I'll feel valuable when, or I'll trust myself after. You begin to understand that worth is not earned, it is inherent. It was present the moment you took your first breath. It remains present now. It will remain long after your body returns to the earth. The ego fears this kind of freedom. It prefers conditions. It prefers striving. It prefers to keep you chasing the next accomplishment so it can whisper, not yet, almost, try harder. But the soul smiles softly and says, already, always, enough. You are already enough. Let those words echo within you. Not because you have achieved everything you set out to achieve, not because you have perfected every aspect of your personality, but because your essence has never required improvement. Growth is not about becoming worthy. It is about expressing the worth that has always been there. Imagine living from that place every day. Imagine making decisions not from fear of failure, but from alignment with love. Imagine speaking not to impress, but to express. Imagine acting not to prove, but to create. This is the life that unfolds when belief in yourself becomes your foundation rather than your occasional aspiration. There will still be uncertainty. There will still be change. But uncertainty no longer feels like a threat. It feels like possibility. Change no longer feels like loss. It feels like evolution. When you trust yourself, you trust your capacity to navigate whatever arises. And here is the deeper truth. Believing in yourself is ultimately believing in the intelligence of the universe flowing through you. It is recognizing that you are not separate from the source of all creation. You are not a lone fragment struggling for survival. You are a conscious extension of a boundless field of energy and love. When you align with that understanding, something extraordinary happens. Fear loosens its grip. Comparison fades. Resentment softens. You begin to see others not as competitors, but as fellow expressions of the same infinite source. Their success does not diminish you. Their journey does not threaten yours. There is room for all of us in this vast ocean of being. And so, as you walk forward from this moment, carry this awareness gently but firmly. You are both the wave and the ocean. You are the human learning and the soul remembering. You are the dream and the dreamer. When doubt arises, and it may, do not fight it. Do not condemn yourself for feeling it. Simply witness it, and then choose again. Choose the thought that expands you. Choose the belief that empowers you. Choose to see yourself through the lens of compassion rather than criticism. Place your hand over your heart and feel its steady rhythm. That rhythm has been with you through every triumph and every disappointment. It has never once asked if you were worthy of its beat. It simply continues, faithfully, lovingly. Let that be your teacher. Trust yourself enough to listen to your inner guidance. Trust yourself enough to outgrow what no longer serves you. Trust yourself enough to forgive your past and step into your future unburdened. Trust yourself enough to say, I am willing to see my greatness. Because that greatness is not arrogance, it is not ego, it is the quiet recognition of your divine origin. It is humility in its purest form, the understanding that you are part of something magnificent, and that magnificence flows through you. And when you truly believe in yourself, you become a beacon, not by striving to shine, but by simply being what you are. Others will feel your steadiness. They will sense your authenticity. They will be reminded, through your example, of their own forgotten light. This is how transformation spreads. Not through force, not through persuasion, but through presence. So stand in your presence. Walk in your presence. Speak from your presence. Let your life be an affirmation. I trust the wisdom within me. I honor the divine energy that animates me. I choose love over fear. I choose expansion over contraction. I choose to believe in myself. And as you choose this moment by moment, breath by breath, you will discover that life begins to mirror that belief back to you. Opportunities align, connections deepen, creativity flows, peace settles. Not because the world has suddenly become perfect, but because you have remembered who you are. You are not small. You are not powerless. You are not broken. You are a radiant, evolving, infinite being having a human experience. And the moment you truly believe that, the change you once felt begin to dissolve. Let this be the moment you stop waiting for permission. Let this be the moment you stop postponing your joy. Let this be the moment you look within and say, with unwavering certainty, I believe in myself. I trust my path. I honor my soul. And from this day forward, I will live not as a reflection of my fears, but as an expression of my truth. Breathe that in. Feel it anchor within you. You are ready. You have always been ready. Believe in yourself.